I have made no secret about my frustrations with Season 2 of The Last of Us, based on the video game The Last of Us Part 2. I have been very open and honest and blunt about all of this, and I'm going to continue to do just that. So let's talk about this episode. I have some really strong opinions and thoughts on this one, so let's discuss. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, subscribe button, notification bell, do all that stuff. Follow me on Rumble, X, Instagram. Okay, this episode is fan-friggin-tastic. This actually might be my favorite episode of the entire series, not just this season. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I didn't like, and then I'm going to get into all the stuff I liked. If I had to give this one a score, I'd probably give it like a 98.8 or something fantastic. I think this is a really great episode. I don't know anybody else's opinion on it. I'm not reading anything on this show, but I was floored by how good this episode was despite some tiny blemishes. So let's get right into it. The Fireflies, and also enormous spoilers. This scene where Ellie and Joel are, they escape from they leave the museum, the dinosaur museum, and Liar is painted on the wall. They axe that all together. That scene is in the show. It's actually the very beginning, and it's handled really well. It's obviously shorter because it's in the show, but this is one that people were kind of waiting for because now we get Joel returning. That's actually the second scene. And I'll get into the first one, which I think was, again, just an incredible piece of work from the team here. Instead of doing that whole scene, they just have Ellie and Joel out there, and she sees some fireflies, and that triggers something in her that reminds her that maybe Joel was not honest with her. I thought it was silly. I think it could have been handled just like it had been in the video game. I think they maybe overthought that one a little bit. There's also this weird scene where it makes it clear that Ellie is a lesbian, and it portrays this information or relays this information to Joel when he walks in on her with another girl. And it's strange because it gives off very, "Dad, get out of my room and leave me alone" vibes. And it just doesn't work. The scene is too short. It's not fleshed out. We have no idea who this chick is. And it kind of falls flat. So those are really the only two things I like. They were very minor compared to what I liked and loved about this really great episode. Okay, so what I like. The opening scene here is perfect. It's perfect. We get something that we've never seen before, which is a young Joel and a young Tommy. Their father is I believe, single dad police officer who clearly physically abuses his kids. The sound design here is incredible. The sound of the dad just walking up, parking the car. The boots when he's walking down the hallway towards his son have this imposing, dangerous just sound to them. I think the sound design in the show in general is fantastic. It really jumped out to me in the first scene of this episode how truly remarkable of a job that they have done with the sound design. There's also some really good relationship building between Ellie and Joel here overall that kind of permeates that throughout the whole episode, which I think is important, given the nature of the big reveals that we have. Ellie has this list of questions that she wants to ask Joel because she still has some doubts that he was honest with her, which that tension is an enormous part of the narrative thread in both the game and the show. So I like that she's a little bit more thoughtful about it. I'm going to put these things down on paper. She doesn't end up using that piece of paper. She discovers it a different way, which I think is the biggest strength of this episode. But I thought that was kind of a nice little touch for her character. Sound design we talked about. They call back to that scene with the dad at the very end, because the dad has this moment where he kind of knows he's a piece of shit, but he wants his son to be a little bit better than he is. And in this scene, Joel is willing to like get his ass beat by his dad just to spare his younger brother. And they call back to it later with this "I hope you do better than me" line. And I think it's really tremendous. I loved it. The best thing about this episode, there's really two things that I thought were outstanding narrative choices that varied way far away from the game. First of all, we haven't really known too much about Catherine O'Hara's character, Gail, apart from she's the psychiatrist and Joel killed her husband. The way we actually get that backstory playing out is fantastic. If you've seen the episode, again, enormous spoilers, Joel and Ellie stumble upon her husband, Eugene, a character that is mentioned in the game. We know he has a pot farm and likes adult movies on VHS, and that he dies. We don't know really anything about that. He's kind of like a tertiary character that doesn't really get any backstory apart from these superfluous things. But now they make him a character who has one of the best moments in the show. So Joe Pantoliano, I think is how his name's pronounced. Let me look it up. Hang on. Bear with me. I always butcher this dude's name every single time. Joe Pantoliano. He is Cypher in The Matrix. You've seen him in a bunch of stuff. He plays Eugene, who is clearly bitten by an infected. And he wants to go back to the camp in Jackson and see Gail. They clearly know who this guy is. They know he's Gail's husband. And Joel tells him, he promises Ellie that like, we're going to take him back to see Gail so they can say goodbye to each other. And he makes this promise directly to Ellie and then breaks it. He takes Eugene, walks him to this like beautiful view of Wyoming, and you can see Eugene break down as he knows he's never going to see his wife again, and they're not going to have a chance to ever say the things they need to say to each other. And Joel executes him. And Ellie finds out, and she's completely crushed by it. And it makes the Firefly thing a bit easier to swallow, because this is what tells Ellie that Joel is capable of doing something two things. He's capable of doing something absolutely monstrous to another human being, and he's capable of lying about it. Whether what he does to Ellie by lying to her is anything like the situation with Eugene is up for debate. People have mixed feelings about Joel's decision to essentially kill a bunch of people to save what he sees as his daughter. I'm #Joel was right, but that's just my opinion. So then that immediately plays out with the reveal being moved from Salt Lake City to Jackson. Now, the Salt Lake City thing in the game was weird because Ellie like disappears and goes to Salt Lake, and finds a voice recorder that makes it clear that they were going to find a cure with her and that she was the only one. But then Joel just like shows up as if he was like an hour or two behind her, tracking her from Jackson to Salt Lake City. It just made no logistical sense in the game. And so here, having it happen kind of quicker and on the spot in Jackson, where Ellie knows that Joel has been lying to her this whole time and just has to get him to say it, is awesome. Really awesome. Didn't expect it. I really didn't expect a lot of things with this episode. It was kind of like the last episode ended, episode 5 ended with the teaser showing, okay, Joel's going to be back in the show again. And I was not pleasantly surprised, I was pleasantly blown away and floored by how well this story gets told. There's one little like awkward line of dialogue that should have been more show and not tell, but the performances by Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey here are phenomenal. This is the best acting I have seen from either of them, and it is not even close. I think this is the single best piece of acting that Pedro Pascal has ever done. Game of Thrones, everything else, this really is fine work from him. He really gets to this emotional, distraught secret that he's keeping from this girl that he really, really, really does love deeply. And some of those details are like condensed into this one moment. And it's really great. It's, instead of being during the daytime, it's set at night. Joel is just bawling, and it actually works really well. I was really shocked and pleasantly floored by how well of a job they did with what is maybe the most emotionally gripping and anchoring moment in the game and the show. So love this episode, thought it was phenomenal. Tell me what you think in the comments. Am I way off base? That's pretty much all I have to say about it. I thought overall it was tremendous. Joe Pantoliano, whatever. He was great as Eugene. Like, really good to see him in this brief appearance. And also Ellie, then after they take his Eugene's body back to the camp, Joel lies to Gail. After lying to Ellie, he then immediately lies to Gail. And Ellie is like, no, this is what happened. And she rats out Joel immediately because she is so upset, and she now knows all of this facade that Joel has been putting up about the situation in Salt Lake City was a lie. So really phenomenal work here. I'm actually really excited now to see how this season ends. I think they're going to get, it sounds like we're getting 2 more seasons of this. I don't know how it's going to play out from a logistical standpoint, but we'll see. Thanks for watching this, though. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Was it awful? Was it the best thing ever seen? Let me know. Follow me on my social medias, X, Rumble, all that good stuff, Instagram, and I'll see you next Saturday at 9 a.m.